Welcome to Backstage with Geoffrey Morrissey. I am your host, Geoffrey Morrissey. We're backstage at the Paradise. I think I can admit this. I faked global warming to get this interview. I am joined by Harmony from Girlpool. Harmony, how are you today?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. I'm doing well. I'm looking forward to talking about this album, Powerplant. It's 12 songs, 8 of which you wrote with Cleo, 4 of which y'all wrote separately.
Yes.
So why is it so important to make that effort for the two of you to write together as opposed to just sort of doing something where you each bring 6 songs to a record?
Well, we have, I think, both grown a lot since Girlpool started, which was, I think, 5 years ago now. I think through writing songs together and grew as people and writers and thinkers through those experiences together. So I feel like moving forward when we are making things, we try to focus a lot of energy on that. But on the next record, actually, that we're going to work on it's a little bit more of our solo songs that each of us has written already, because those have kind of been we haven't gotten to like use any of them in any particular way, and I feel like we both feel really connected to them and want to give them a moment to shine, and we love working together on songs and like exploring them and fleshing them out. So but I feel like collaborating and on writing has really pushed us as people, basically.
Well, there you go, and it's a great product. And one of the big narratives around this record was sort of like Girlpool switches genre. You guys are now a rock band, which I can imagine that narrative gets old to some extent. So what for you was the most interesting part of making this album, or what for you is sort of the thing that you think people are overlooking beyond the genre conversation?
I mean, anything you make, there's like, you attach certain things to memories, and like writing each song, like me and Cleo were living apart in Philly and in New York, and would like drive to each place and would unload like the past week or whatever, how long it had been on each other, and then like work on songs, and it just kind of like, there's all these experiences attached to everything you make, and like these context that is untapped or unseen by people. And I think that the work that comes out of it can really assist in the experience and like getting through those moments. So I feel like when you look at people's work, it's so much more than just how it appears. It's more of an emotional experience, I think. When you, like, for me, I think as a listener and a maker, I feel of like anything, I think it's important to just experience it subjectively to you and not like analyze it. I mean, you can analyze it theoretically, but I think it's most important to have an emotional experience with things before you theorize with them. So I think that's something people overlook, I guess.
No, of course. And then another big thing in this record, I saw 3 or 4 articles that used this phrasing that y'all were the future of rock, the saviors of rock, which I can imagine is just an enormous amount of pressure, because not only do you have to make a good album, you have to make an album that saves the genre. So how have you sort of dealt with that? Is pressure something that gets to y'all, or is it just something that you can shrug off and play your best music anyways?
I mean, everything that people say is clickbait.
True.
So there's like, there's no pressure. I mean, words are meaningless unless they're honest, and most of the time in media, I feel like they're sensationalized. So I don't feel any obligation by that sort of thing. I think it's just like, I mean, if people want to view anyone that way, they can and should, or whatever, but I don't think it's anyone's responsibility to save anything. I think it's their responsibility to make the truest thing for where they're at, and not feel like, be critical of yourself, but not in the gaze of the public. I think be critical because of how you reckon with the things you make and the things you do, and like be honest with you, and not like fronting something because that's like popular or whatever.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. And then, so in addition to Powerplant, you'll have a new single out called Picture Song. I got to work a little bit with Blood Orange on that. So tell me how this all came about, and the inspiration behind Picture Song.
Well, Picture Song is, it's a song, let's see. Well, Dev hit us up, and we were going to New York to do like promotional things for this record, Powerplant. And like a few weeks before, I had that's a song that like I wrote most of and then we fleshed out together. So that song like came about when I was living in New York. I wrote half of it and the words were pretty different, and then I finished it after I went to a Frankie Cosmo show in Philly, I think November 1st. Finished the lyrics, and the like inspiration for me about it is really just about like how people want to project realities onto you that you can't handle, but then how in turn you do the same thing to other people, and kind of like the cost of that and what that does to you and what that does to other people when you project things that they can't uphold and like expect things that they could never give you, and how it's unreasonable to ever do that, and how there's a self-awareness of it. Like, I don't know, I am aware when I do that now, and it's like something I constantly struggle with, because especially like I love to romanticize people for my work and like to write things and create things. It's like very cathartic to just take people out of their context and make them a whole new thing. And I know other people who I've been with or have been interested in me have done that to me, and I think it's just like, as humans, we are constantly struggling with reckoning with reality and how much we are given, and like how can we make more from what we have creatively with our brains. So I feel like for me that song is about like the spirituality that of romance, kind of, and like how there's needs to be a groundedness and a self-awareness within that.
And then the art for that does a great job, I feel like, of
Thank you.
painting that image as well. But then it also must be a whole separate thing when, of course, you have what people project on you interpersonally, but then being a public figure too.
Totally.
It's a whole separate ballgame. So
Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah, I can only imagine. That's one of the perks of radio. It's always funny. I think it's only happened once, but someone's like, I recognize that voice. So yeah. In fact, actually, Elizabeth from Land to Talk just did that, and I was like, wow, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
But radio, I guess, known by voice. And then Powerplant, great name for a record, great record, obviously. So, in your opinion, what is the Powerplant within? What is it that drives you, or drives this band, I guess, to make music? How do you guys get your energy?
What is the okay. I feel like Cleo and I both make things just because we don't really like. We both just handle things through our work, I think, and like, it's our both of us. I think it's really cathartic and important to explore feelings through words and music, and playing is just like the most fun thing ever. Like, we literally, I don't know, we love touring and playing. It's like literally all we want to do. I don't know. It's just, it's really like all there is, sort of, for us. I mean, I write songs, I think, to get ahead of my feelings and to not feel like a victim to them. And I think it empowers me to feel like if I can't control this feeling, at least I can like make something from it. You know, it's like alchemy in a way. But yeah.
And then one of the things that I was reading, you said something really interesting in an interview. It was musicians reenact a sound because they like it so much, and that makes sense, which I really can appreciate that quote. So how do you make sure when you're both in the studio that you aren't reenacting another band that you both admire, like an Elliott Smith or something like that, but creating something that is uniquely your own?
I mean, I feel like in every tradition of art, there's mimicry, and like sometimes it's complimentary and sometimes it's direct and in reference to something to like be tongue-in-cheek, or sometimes, you know, there's different ways to do it. But I feel like the desire to be unique is true, but I don't.
No, you're good.
I don't know, I just don't. I feel like the most, for me, like making things, I feel like is just about like reaching the deepest part of your truth and getting to it, and like finding your voice or whatever, like what people call your voice in writing, and it's like how people write or whatever. Like you can tell who's writing, like when you read it, like whatever, Sylvia Plath or like Lydia Davis. It's like, oh, that voice is like, you're familiar with it. And I think being unique shouldn't necessarily be the goal, although that's like an amazing side effect, I think. But I think the goal should be like digging as deep as you can to figure out what you have to say and like what your experiences are, and listen. And I think like, yeah, I just feel like it's about finding that, and just keeping, never feeling like you're reaching the plateau either, like always trying to find more of it, like you're an architect, like a not architect, a excavator or something in your body, like within emotionally. I don't know.
No, that exactly. You're always looking for something else, something different.
Yeah.
Well, you do a ton of these interviews, you and Cleo both, which I appreciate. And then, so what do you wish journalists asked you about more often, or maybe asked you about less?
I don't know. I feel like anything could be spun into a better thought, so it's hard to say what's worth or not worth talking about. You know, because it's like everything is a little bit of something else. So there's nothing that's entirely wrong when being asked it, because it's like, well, I can take that and like comment on how that makes me feel, or like how that could be better. I don't know. There's growth in everything. You know, know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, of course, of course. And then, so I know you have a show to play. This will be my last question. Who are you listening to right now? Who's been spinning in the bus?
Well, let's see. Well, today we are borrowing our friend's van, and there's only a CD player in it. So we've been kind of like on, I don't know, I was trying to listen to Kate Bush through my phone yesterday.
That's what Fourth Wanderers just said. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that I was trying to do that?
No, that they were trying to listen to Kate Bush as well.
Oh, really? That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was trying to listen to Kate Bush, and I love, let's see, there's so much good music. I mean, I have this like crazy long playlist that I listen to all the time that I'm always working on. That's like, well, it's my winter playlist on Spotify, but it's just like a ton of stuff that I really like. I'm trying to think like what stands out right now that I'm really digging. What records? Let me think. Hold on. There's definitely stuff in there. I really like this one Sad Lovers and Giants song that Cleo's partner showed me, and called Your Skin and Mine. And I love Chris Wiseman, Ruth Garbus. I love PC music stuff, like Sophie and like A.G. Cook and Danny L. Harl and Hannah Diamond. Oh, and Lillian Hornhorse is great. Let's see what else. Oh, Palm's new record came out today. It's very good. They're amazing. Yeah, there's a lot of incredible music. I'm trying to think. That's like all I can really think of. I really am into a lot of beat-oriented things right now. Yeah.
Well, nice. Well, if you're not into Powerplant by Girlpool, get into it now. You certainly won't regret it. My guest has been Harmony from that band. Harmony, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.